Hello, everyone. Sean Higgs coming at you. Football Friday Live. Marc Lawrence joining the show, as always, on our Football Friday Lives here on the Winner Circle Sports Betting Podcast. Hit that like button. Share, subscribe, notification bell on so you know each and every Football Friday. Again, there's only 4 of these left, basically. I mean, then we'll have to roll it into some kind of college hoops weekend show or something. Major League Baseball futures, and as the calendar progresses. But we do have a full slate of NFL and a couple bowl games here on Friday, and of course, there's a college football playoff now. So we got 3 more games left, 2, and then the championship. We'll talk about those in just 1 second. But again, we are live here. Comment section open. Like, share, subscribe. Also, gamblersworld.net. Visit our sponsor site. It's our flash sale. First Friday flash sales. Every Friday we'll be giving 26% off. It's 2026. If you still write checks, make sure you add 2026 before you write out. Don't put 2025 in there. They won't accept them. For those of you who write checks, let's be honest, Marc, a lot of these cats probably don't even know what a check is. I still write checks because I'm a sick SOB. For some things, it's always good. I like a little paper trail. But listen, it's January 2nd. 30-day pass is where you want to be here with Marc or myself or any of the cappers at gamblersworld.net. Take 26% off that 30-day package. All sports included, not just the college football playoffs or NFL playoffs. You'll get NBA, college hoops, and hockey for those of you who like the cold cash on the ice. Marc, Happy New Year to you. We were just talking real fast off air about our SEC love and admiration. They did you dirty. And I want to just jump into SEC talk. Greg Sankey, this clown of a boss that he is, running a show here. I think 7 teams should be in the college football playoffs. Let's run down the SEC in the playoffs because, right, what are they? A miserable 1-6 in bowl games or whatever they are, headed into to yesterday's matchup. But look at this. Let's start with LSU. Lost to Houston. Okay, they were an underdog. Tennessee, favorite, upset loser to Illinois. Missouri, favorite, upset loser to Virginia. Vanderbilt, upset loser, Iowa. Oklahoma, never should have been there in the first place, but they matched up with another SEC team to make them look good. Loser. Texas beat Michigan, who didn't they beat them already this year? A Michigan team that was in total flux anyway. So, all right, we'll give you that. Alabama, you beat Oklahoma, shouldn't have been there, and then you got curb stomped, scoring 3 points versus Indiana. Texas A&M, favored, 3 points. Only team you lost to the regular season was a team with a winning record. Should you even have been in the playoffs at 12-1. And Georgia, upset as a favorite. Your best team, Ole Miss, who I said, you know what, they shouldn't be in the playoffs anyway. Your coach left, right? Isn't that like you don't know how teams are going to respond? Wasn't that a lot of talk with Florida State with their injuries and stuff? How the hell was Oklahoma in here or Alabama? Ole Miss, I think, wins it all. That is my little shot there. I think they hate Lane Kiffin. The comments were they didn't like him. I had them yesterday. I took them already. Plus the points there versus the Hurricanes. That is my SEC rant. Your trash-ass conference, the ACC is better than you. How about that, SEC fans? Go ahead. Have at it. You're probably crying, SEC fans, the way things played out. But I got to get my little SEC rant in, Marc. I'm sorry.
Well, I think every conference has been better than the SEC so far, Sean, at least, from if not a win percentage to the spread. They've been money burners, SEC, and 2 of their wins this year came against each other. If they hadn't gone head-to-head, there'd be 2 less victories for the Southeast Conference. So it's not been, obviously, a good year for the SEC. I don't know how they're going to try and justify or wind their way out of that, but they're being exposed here rapidly. And I love nothing more. I'm a Big Ten guy. I'm from Big Ten country, and I'd love to see what the Big Ten is doing here right now. So, as this stuff unfolds, watching Indiana just whip up on Alabama, just from a Big Ten standpoint here, that was really about as good as it gets from a Big Ten, being a fan of the Big Ten.
Indiana last year when they got to the playoffs, I'm like, these guys, they're not going to compete here, right? I figured talent-wise, they just don't have the depth to compete with the big boys yet, right? I mean, the coach might be great. I took Oregon versus them in Oregon. My thought process, Mark, is, hey, the depth is going to catch up with you. Nice year, nice second year. But no, they just rolled an Alabama team, and I had Indiana. But Alabama's still Alabama. They still have 15 years of recruiting and just the name brand behind them. You think they'd be able to hold on. Indiana wore them down like they were Alabama in 2016. It's crazy.
Whether it was Alabama or whoever they played, it's been rough going for anybody that's taken on Indiana this football season here. And, I don't know if it's all a Kurt Cignetti deal because he's really won wherever he's gone, but he's doing it most impressively this year with Indiana. And I just tallied this up, and I looked at Indiana and what they've done. The points that they've allowed this year, they've held 11 teams to season low or second low total points. They've held 11 teams to season low or second low yardage this year. They're just very, very impressive defensively. And then you got a hog line offensive line that's as good as they are, and a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback. That's a real tough combination to beat here. And I don't know if you're going to put them up against Oregon here. There's going to be a Big Ten battle between two football teams here, obviously. And Indiana did beat Oregon earlier this year. But the thing that surprises me, Sean, is arguably this line. When they beat Oregon earlier this year, they went into Oregon as a 7-point dog.
Yep.
And now here they're laying 4 points in this rematch here. So I think the odds makers are maybe caught up with Indiana, and maybe they're not giving Oregon enough respect. I don't know what the answer is.
Indiana just looks so balanced in their attack, so fluid. It's just, they talk about like taking on the identity of your coach, and this guy just sits there, stone-faced, no emotion, business. Let's get our lunch, go to work. That's the way this team is. Running the ball, passing the ball. Like, you mentioned he won the Heisman. It's like, oh, you fade the Heisman guys. And most Heisman guys, right, Mark? I mean, they got sexy numbers. They're throwing for 3,500, 4,000 yards, 35, 40 touchdowns, putting up crazy stats. This guy didn't have those crazy stats, right? He was just kind of pedestrian kind of numbers overall. Nothing, not the lead, the passing leader for college. Didn't lead in, he was a two-way guy. Didn't lead in rushing for a quarterback. None of those stats. They just won as a team. He didn't have to throw 5 touchdowns a game, right? He just they pummel teams. This is again, maybe am I late? I've had Indiana a couple times this year. Maybe I'm just like giving them their just due here, but I think they beat Oregon. Again, I got Mississippi winning the whole thing though, so I think that will be the matchup we're going to get. Speaking of Ole Miss, what do you think about their game yesterday? I mean, they played Georgia tough the first time. They had a lead going into the fourth quarter before they fell apart in Georgia. I think this is a legit team here. I mean, obviously they're one of 4 teams left, so they're pretty damn good. I'm a believer. I don't think the Lane Kiffin stuff matters. I think they want to win in spite of Lane Kiffin. When the guy said, I got a better chance at winning over at LSU than I do here, I think these dudes are coming out to – even the coaches, I think they want to prove themselves. Hey, Lane's not here. I might be an assistant, but you know what? I'm going to have a head coaching job next year after I win this puppy and go to LSU for a year. I think these guys take it as a front.
Well, I hope, and I don't know if they've done yet, but I hope they sign Golding as the new head coach, permanent head coach at Ole Miss. You can tell that he's really respected and well-liked by the team. He seems to have a persona about him that's just cool confidence in what it is that they do. And man, oh man, you talk about teams on a run at the right time of the season here. 7 wins in a row, 7 games in the stats. They just powdered the opponents. 130 yards they beat Georgia by yesterday. It was a lot worse than the scoreboard indicated there. They drilled Florida by 200 yards. They beat South Carolina 190 yards. This football team is for real. And we're going to find out whether or not this rematch means anything here. it did to Ole Miss in that Georgia football game. There's no doubt about that. But you can have Miami and Ole Miss going head to head here, and you're having the marquee game, Indiana and Oregon. The other one, the Indiana-Oregon, would have probably, for all intents and purposes, if you could hand choose it, would have been the championship game. It won't be. So my question to you, Sean, is this. What happens to the winner of the Indiana-Oregon game? Is there a emotional letdown after that war, that tug of war that's going to go on in that contest? And will Ole Miss or Miami of Florida benefit from it?
Do you think Oregon is better? Like, what would you have your numbers at Oregon versus Ole Miss and Oregon versus Miami at? You think they're that much better than those two teams?
Well, they would be similar numbers. Okay, I think I think Miami of Florida, Ole Miss might be even on a power rating level, but the question here is just psychologically. You're coming off of beating. If they beat Oregon twice, 2 times in 1 year, they could take the field with a lot of false confidence in that football game, doing what they're doing, having just beat who they beat again to get there. With the Heisman Trophy winner, who looks like the real deal here so far. So there's going to be a lot of storylines coming out of these 2 football games this particular weekend, and I'm going to be interested to see, like you, who's playing and what the line of the game is going to be.
You're going to have and let's go. We could go look at each of these teams. You have Indiana coming in again. You sweeping the Big Ten. You're undefeated, so you got that kind of. Are they going to play down or whatever? You got the whole undefeated angle. You'd have Oregon coming in with, big revenge win, knocking off the undefeated top team Hoosiers. You'd have the Miami storyline of they shouldn't even be here. They didn't win their conference championship. How are they in here as the 7th best team in the ACC based on whatever kind of wacky parameters they have, right?
Yep.
And you'll have Ole Miss in there. Wow, are they going to win? Like, it was Lane Kiffin really a good coach? If you can leave a team with a defensive coordinator or whoever Golden is, because I think he did get the job, and you leave an assistant there and they win without you. How good are you? Every game, whoever comes in, it's going to be a storyline for each team, and how there could be a flat spot for everybody. I think, right?
Unquestionably, that's what makes. This college football playoff what it is, because there's different storylines to different games every weekend and off of every result. And what kind of mystified me a little bit about this weekend here, 2 things. Number one, these teams with the bye weeks just absolutely bit the apple once again this year. They were 0-4, the playoff teams that had a bye last year, and they went 1-3 this year. That's 1-7 for teams that had the bye in the college football playoffs. Can you explain that to me,
crazy.
Sean? 1-7?
You'd think you'd have some kind of – we talk about scripted plays. You'd think you'd have something in the back pocket to come out and run doing something silly. They're just anemic. It's tough. I mean, the Texas Tech game, well, let's pivot to that atrocity, I say, because we both had them.
Yep.
What the heck kind of – I don't even have an – I'm definitely not buying that defense from Oregon.
Well, they were comatose, Texas Tech. They looked like they'd been in the field for the first time this season, playing a team that had 12 or 13 games under their belt. And, to not show up the way they did, it was absolutely disgraceful. 215 yards in a football game from an offense that could arguably have been the best in the country, to not even show up in a football game. I thought it was totally disgraceful. And like you say, we both had them. I had them in a big way yesterday, and I was just shell-stunned and shocked, and I still am, because I don't know if did we really see the real Texas Tech, or did we see the real Oregon? That's the question in this football game, because
exactly.
Texas Tech did not show up.
And that's weird, because you could say, well, who Texas Tech beat? Well, I mean, they beat everybody who they had to beat, like every other team, right? Yep. The BYU wins look pretty good after BYU's nice little bowl game in front of Array. My favorite bowl, the Pop-Tarts Bowl. I should have gone. You know what? I got my emotional support Pop-Tarts. They came in the mail. My daughter took them upstairs. I enjoy the Pop-Tarts Bowl, Mark. I think that's they do a great job. Your entire Twitter was just all Pop-Tarts that day. That is what a bowl a bowl game should be. It should be, and that was a good matchup. I think better teams, listen, if you don't make the playoffs, again, they're expanding them, so it's even going to be worse. That Pop-Tart Bowl should be a playoff bowl. I mean, they embrace the players. I love it. Anyway, we got some games going on here, and we'll get to the comments here. Imagine Mara was in the house saying Happy New Year to us, so we have a good year. He's got a question of the SMU game. We'll get to that in a second. But let's talk about Rice and Texas State today. I wake up and the line is 19 because Rice is going with a third-string quarterback. Texas State finally just punched one in here in this game. I mean, what a 7-0, you're laying 20 because they think, hey, you can't – the other team's not going to score. At this rate, you're going to barely get there. This 20 – what is this game going to be, 21-0 in this matchup? This is what do you feel about stuff like that where day of it comes out that somebody's sitting and it's like, what the heck? The line just takes off another 5 points.
Yeah, we're seeing all of these player opt-outs, the coach opt-outs. It's become sickening to the point. The UConn game, when UConn played this year, they had more player opt-outs and coaches. That list was longer than the Epstein files. It was horrible. I mean, and they played like it as well. Maybe we're seeing the same thing from Rice here in the same situation here. But Rice wasn't very much of a team when they had players. Now they don't have players here. So it's like a Rice junior varsity in a sense. But could you get me to lay 20 points with Texas State in a bowl game? No way on God's green earth would I do that. But obviously, the lines maker knows what he's doing because it looks like they're on their way, clear sailing here for Texas State.
I saw the slide this morning because I initially like the over. You got a Rice team that runs that option kind of stuff. You figure this is going to be one of those games. It's in Fort Worth. These are two Texas teams. There'll be some people there. It'd be a fun kind of game, high scoring. I saw that this guy went out and they had a walk-on or whoever quarterback, and I'm thinking, boy, I should really take the under in this one, right? That would have been probably the smartest play based on they're a run team anyway.
Yep.
And you look, it's the second quarter. Both teams had the ball twice. I mean, these are just drives that even a 3 and out is 5 minutes because they used the entire play clock. I'd still go under 43 in this game right now. How the hell are they scoring 43 points in this game? They could the next touchdown scored, they could count as 14 points. I don't think it'll get the 43 points.
Unless one team gets it all themselves. If Rice just lays down, it doesn't even show. But I'm with you. I mean, you're playing in-game props or in-game lines on totals. You probably have value there. What are you getting right now for a total in-game prop? Can you see that?
I'm DraftKings, that's 43.5. But you do get a middle because there are 41.5s out there as well. So 41.5 to 43.5 is the spread on the in game.
Wow,
that's pretty interesting. There now a couple are moving up to 42.5 now. So I gotta say with DK, and again these are tough to get down on for me personally. DK FanDuels, DK comes out with a good strong line. I don't want to say they're penny and 4-1-1 type lines, but they put a good solid line out there for side and total people. You see a lot of bad lines here from, places like, Hard Rock and Rivers and these MGMs and stuff. These guys' lines, they kind of circle back to the DK line a lot of times.
Do you feel that DraftKings is sort of the Squares sports book where I'm talking the spread and this is to in-game, but go ahead.
I look at them and FanDuel as well. They are not really – they'll ban the sharper winner player, right? We know that. They've come out and said that. You see their little memo like, we're not paying it. They are all for the parlay crew and the prop crowd. A guy got hurt, we're going to refund your crap. Like that just pisses me. No, refund it. No. But they give it back to that person. That same person's going to re-inject it into that probably same game or the game afterward on something, right? I mean, no people who are taking advantage of that stuff are just going to reload that up in a second, right? So I know it's square in the sense that they kick you out as soon as you start winning, and you know I'm again I get down, I like my early lines. I was out of there in a hurry, like it's like, oh, are you kidding me? What are you doing here? Line moves 7 points, you're definitely not welcome there. It moves 2 points, you're not welcome. But I think they're more of a play to the common. I'm watching the game on TV. We're at Buffalo Wild Wings. We're parlaying. We're in gaming. We're player propping up. Here's your bad beat refund. They should have won. Here you go. This guy gets hurt, misses a half. Here's your refund.
So they're catering to the players, what they're doing.
Yeah, but that's not my kind of play. I think that's I'm not a 6-leg parlay guy. That's great. Yeah, go 5-1 and lose money. How do you go 5-1 and lose money? How do you go to sleep at night?
Well, you should learn a lesson is what you should do first of all. But what about when I'm talking about DraftKings, I'm referring a little bit more to the side, to the number to the side and their closing number. It always seems to be, look at the National Football League. Their closing lines are a half a point to a point higher on every favorite that closes. So are they jacking the favorites up in the National Football League because of their customer base, knowing that they're squares per se?
As I'm going to say, as it progresses, probably. But first to the market number, I see a lot of them come back to those kind of numbers. And it's weird because them and DraftKings are always a point off. DraftKings and FanDuel are always a point different. Right? It's always one has 8, one has 7.5 or something. It's just. But when I look at their numbers like here, I'm looking at Minnesota right now. All right. And I'm on a live screen for Odds Logic. I got 8.5 DraftKings, 7.5 FanDuel. I'm going to go offshore to a 411, which is a pretty good book, is a 9, 7.5 a penny. MGM's at 8. I mean, you have a variety of numbers to get down on. I mean, 7, 7.5, 8, 8.5, and 9s.
Yeah, there's a nice little spread there, but it gets up into the dead number, but nonetheless, it's, you're covering 2 different point spread numbers there for sure.
It's, I don't know exactly because they do come out higher, but I notice a lot of times they're still set where they should be. I mean, you get a number like that where it's a little different. Everywhere else, they're the same as everyone else right now. But I get you saying being favorite people because most people are favorites and overs.
It's for sure.
You mentioned Army playing UConn in this opt-outs.
Yes,
I love Navy today. We gave Navy out the other day on the show as a show pick here. Service academies, I think you probably noticed, 19-3 straight up in ATS run.
Yeah, and murderous favorites, Sean. Murderous favorites. I mean, obviously they're focused for the football games. They're not going there partying, and it's not all tailgate time for them. That's the military, and they go and do what they do best. That's the job at hand. They win football games, and I'm with you. I'm on Navy here as well today. Just like Army. How can you not be with numbers like that?
It's just a no-brainer. You have a team, Army, Navy, they're going to show up. There's not opt-outs. They're coming in professional. We're going to do our job. And the fact they run the ball, they're just going to pummel a team who's not totally in it or have opt-outs. In Cincinnati, you lose a quarterback with those 30 touchdowns or runs for 9 touchdowns, you're going to have a problem. It's going to be a problem.
Well, for sure it's going to be. That's, he was the leader of the team, Sorsby, and he opts out. I mean, another sickening, saddening case of these players leaving programs, not because they're injured, but because they want out, because they want to take NIL money elsewhere. And that's, to me, is just, there should be a law or something. It needs to happen to prevent all this.
I think ridiculous. You have to listen. If you're a freshman or backup your first year, second, you can leave automatic. You get that automatic transfer. If you go somewhere a second time, that's it. you get two shots here. You know, if you didn't suit up a game, I could say, all right, you can get out of here, right? There's no, I'm not blaming a kid who's a freshman who sits, he wants to go somewhere else, and then he plays 3 games, they move him, he wants to move somewhere else. What is that doing? But a guy like these kind of guys who move as, you know, juniors and seniors and graduate students, there's got to be some kind of, you got to spend, you can't be on 3 teams in 3 years. You got to spend at least 2 years with a team. And I understand. Listen, are these guys going pro, Mark? A lot of these guys? No. You're not going to get a contract. Stay in school till
they're
you're
making
26.
their money in college, though, Sean. That's where they're making it right now. You know, they're not.
I try to stay at school for a couple, 2-3 years, right? And honestly, the way the NFL quarterback situation is with these young guys, why wouldn't you stay to your 25 or 26 and go in the NFL as an older player? You give me a shot. I stayed at a program for X amount of years. I could read a defense, right? I'm not a 21-year-old coming out. How many bad quarterbacks we see in the NFL coming out after a year or two?
Well, Dylan Gabriel from the Cleveland Browns was that quarterback. I think he played for 3 different colleges, played his way all the way through his senior year. He didn't, leave early as a junior, and he did so because he was being paid comfortably to do just that. So that's the route that these quarterbacks should be taking, as you mentioned here, because there could be a promised land in the end of the National Football League where there's a dearth of quarterbacks that in the National Football League right now that are needed. So, we'll see how this all shakes out. But I just scratch my head. And when I see this, it just it repulses me because, first of all, it started with all the rivalry games. And the rivalry games were stripped away. And now the bowl games are being stripped away. And what was it all because of? ESPN.
Yeah.
All for the money. All for the money.
Yeah. The transfer portal's bad. I know they want to say, well, we could just expand a little bit. If you got a kid in college, you know how this works. They got, their semesters are like, it's kind of like financial years. They're like from January to June or something. You have so many different sports. And let's be honest, these people, they can't tie their shoe. There'd be no way we're going to just do it for one sport. It would not work. They'd screw it up. They have screwed it up. Look at where we're at. Look, we're out with the playoffs. And we got to expand the playoffs next year. Why? 6 was where it should have been. They destroyed the conferences. The bowl games. Listen, get rid of the conference. This is what it should be. No conference championships. Bowl games start the first Saturday in December. Maybe not for regular bowl games, but if they want the expanded playoff, you have games playing on Saturday, maybe Friday and Saturday, right? They just have it Friday, Saturday because NFL Sunday. The next week you have a next round, and you're done. You're done by the end of the year. The other bowl games play, and it's all wrapped up by the end of the year, calendar year, and then the players can go, and that's that. It's again. There's a lot of moving parts.
Look at the back end of it, though, Sean. What if they lengthen the season and have it conclude with the championship game the week before the Super Bowl, which is where it should be? And if they did just that, then they can continue with conference championship games. They can keep that tradition in place and wrap everything up, like I'm saying, a week before the Super Bowl, extend it there that way. And they probably would do so and do it with 12 or 16 teams in the playoffs. Because why? There's more money in the pie. That's why.
Yeah, well, I mean, the problem is that you're going to have schools folding up. I mean, I saw what? Iowa State has 9 guys on their roster right now. Some of these schools are going to fold up. Like, what is the purpose of? Let's just throw I'll make the joke with Mississippi Valley State in college basketball. These guys go on the road to pick up $3 million to get their butts whipped, and to be 5-22 every year. Eventually these schools are going to be like, why are we paying this? This is a waste of money.
Well, they're like who was the team that played the Harlem Globetrotters every year?
Like the Washington Generals or whatever.
Yeah, they're the Washington Generals. Exactly.
Yeah, but football, you're going to have the same thing. I mean, let's have 20-team conferences. Why? You're not playing everybody. You took away the Coastal and the divisions and East and West and North and South, however they broke down the divisions, Atlantic, Coastal, right? They got rid of all those and just have a giant hodgepodge of nonsense. And this is where we're at.
And these rivalries are being stripped out. Look at the Southern Cal Notre Dame thing. That's all gone now.
Yeah.
That's terrible. That was one of the long-standing traditional rivalries.
I understand USC saying let's play in September as opposed to mid-October.
Right.
I get that. You could schedule that a bye week ahead of time or something afterwards after you have a big game like that.
Didn't want to accommodate that.
Yeah. So I mean, Notre Dame can say what they want, but USC's be like, really, man, I don't want to play in October. At the end, it's a nice marquee matchup for who? For you on NBC.
That's right.
But that doesn't help us on.
No.
That's if it's a home game, it's great. But I don't feel going to South Bend on October 26th in the middle of my Pac-10 run. Well, let's be honest. USC wanted to break up the Pac-12 to be what? To be 8-4 every year. Enjoy the New Mexico Bowl, USC, because you are not going anywhere. You're an 8-4 team now. You're not built for the Big Ten. So
what you're saying is they did that to ensure that whatever bowl they landed in, they would be the favorite because it would be a very soft bowl.
Yeah. Well, we saw what happened last time as a nice soft favorite. What happened? They lost.
Yep.
They lost in their soft bowl.
Yep.
There's a backup quarterback. USC should be like, you know what? I want to go back to the Pac-12. Can I go back to the Pac-12, please? We got a game going on. 7-0 here. Rice going backwards on a 5-yard pass. Magic Mar. What about this game here? Arizona, the SMU game. 1.5, 51.5. I have nothing. I have zero. I mean, I kind of like the over just because I think you got two quarterbacks. You can put some points up. They're staying and in at the transfer portal. They'll be interested in the game. I think this would be a wild one like the USC game. High scoring, points on the board.
This does have the making of an over for sure. It does.
Right.
The styles of the teams, the defenses are nothing special for sure. And hey, it's the Holiday Bowl. Why not let it all go? I mean, it's the last bowl game, regular pure bowl game of this season before we get down into the college football semifinals. But I agree with you. I think that could be an over game.
I can't believe, like you just said, that's it. Bowl games end tonight. They're all over. January 2nd. Remember the good old days? You'd have some kind of random game on January 9th, like the some kind of tire bowl or something. There'd be like a random game with like Mid-Tennessee State being played on like a January 7th or 9th before the national championship. Or the one year we got a game after did we get a game after the championship one time, a bowl game?
I think we did.
Right?
Yep. But that's all out the window, Sean. It's all for the sake of purity.
Listen, we're old guys. We like to reminisce about the good old days when it was nice. Mar had Georgia 3 in the safety. Oh, my goodness. Danny Boy said he would have smashed his TV on that one. Probably would have not been a good look. Ronnie wants to come in some NFL here. Happy New Year, Ronnie.
Let me ask you about the NFL. What do you see here?
I mean, he wants to do a team total. I don't think Josh Allen plays the whole game here. But then they got a little Trubisky. I got MVP Trubisky, this guy. I think he can come in and throw the ball a little bit. If Trubisky gets in here, I think this game goes over. Because I think he'll be the guy throwing to I think like Knox and Shakur, if I saw correctly last week, they didn't get their bonuses. This would be bonus time here with Trubisky coming in off the bench and throwing for like 245 yards in the second half. Well, 7. I think this line was 13. It's come down because, of course it does. I can't take the Jets at 7. 22.5. I don't know. What are your thoughts on this? I mean, we'll talk about this game real fast, but then we'll talk about it in general on the week 18 after.
22.5. What are you saying? 22.5.
That's for his team total for the Bills team total over.
Okay. Buffalo's team total. Okay. There's some need for Buffalo in this game. I mean, they have reason to play. The Jets are the Jets are the Jets. They're, when have they ever showed up in a game when you can count on them? They haven't. I still think that Buffalo is going to be the right side of this football game. And I agree with you. I don't think you're going to see a whole lot of Josh Allen. Some people I've heard even say he might be out there for one snap just to continue his streak.
Yeah.
Who knows? They don't want to risk injury, that's for sure. He'd be the last player they'd want injured for sure. But I would only look to Buffalo in this game. I think the New York Jets have got their bags packed, and they're waiting for the final gun to sound, and they're off on the airplane to head home. I think their season is all but done. And Buffalo, like I say, a little bit choppy down the stretch in the end here, and everybody had them to be the team out of the AFC. They don't look to be that team out of the AFC. And I know you won't find McDermott risking his players' health in this particular football game. He can't afford to, Sean, because they're playing next week. They're playing next week. So
yeah, I don't think they're worried about moving up a spot in the wild card nonsense. You need Josh Allen healthy, and let's be honest. Drake May's had a great year. Lamar might be there if they beat the Steelers, but you got the best quarterback in the AFC who's going to be in the playoffs. Might not have a great year, but if you're the Bills, we got to go on the road. I'd still feel comfortable going on the road versus whoever I got to go on the road against. I feel like I got an MVP guy running the show. I'm in a game, right? It's not like they're going to come in here and be like 9-point underdogs or some crap. They could very well be. They're going on the road to be in pick'ems, or they might even be favored. Again, I don't know the matchups. I'm not digging looking for those. But like you're saying, you need 100% health. You're going on the road for the rest of the playoffs. I'm with you there. We got some more college football talk in here. We'll get back. Poor Doug here. Indiana, Oregon, 47 total. I like the under.
Well, I think you have to because you have a spectacular defense in Indiana and you have a good defense in Oregon there. These two teams know each other from the Big Ten. They met earlier in the football season here. That game played to 50. I don't think this game exceeds that by any means. And the deeper you go into playoffs, whether it's professional or college football, the more and more the defense becomes the trump card. And if the defense rises in a football game like this, you can only look to the under.
Right,
I agree.
Yeah. More football, NFL style. The Rams 7.5 here. So we see a lot of crazy line movement here, Mark, week 18, right? Guys are playing. We got Green Bay's throwing out their third stringer. This Rams line was 14. It's now cut in half. We saw Denver open up at like 5. That one goes to 13 with guys sitting out. Where are the Rams going here? They're probably going to Philly again. Are they worried about not going to do they have motivation here? I like Arizona even with 7.5.
Well, do the Rams have motivation? I would say they have motivation. They're sitting here right now. What is it? A game behind Frisco for the seeding, but it's only going to be for seeding purposes for them as far as that's concerned.
Yes.
So, do they want to be 6th or do they want to be 5th? Do you want to play Philadelphia or do you want to play Carolina? I think, or Tampa. I think that's a pretty big no-brainer as far as that's concerned, where they want to be. And I think we talked a month ago. We were talking about the Rams being the team to beat in the National Football League this year to make it and win the Super Bowl. Win the Super Bowl. They were playing that good of football. Now they're coming into this football game off of that wild. Well, not off of it was 2 weeks ago against Seattle when that overtime loss. That was probably maybe the best football game of the football season we've seen so far this year. Then they go to Atlanta and they trip up at Atlanta here. So that's 2 losses in a row for this team here. Sean McVay's going to want to get this team turned around. So is there enough incentive here to go lay a number that you're getting maybe perhaps a good wholesale price on? That's the question here. You just wish you knew what the coach's game plan was going to be as far as the starters are concerned. That's what makes handicapping this week here in the National Football League extremely difficult.
And this is how you bounce around with that, because the next question here is coming up is Danny Boy, Seattle and the Niners. So this game is the night before, which will decide the West, the 1 seed, and the seeding here, right? San Fran wins, home field throughout. Seattle wins, home field throughout. Do the Rams move up though based on, again, they'd both be 12-4, right? They'll be 12-4, them and Frisco, or 13-4, I should say. No. They're 12-5. Frisco would be 12-5. I'm sorry. They'll both be 12-5. I don't know the breakdown of
the tiebreaker.
Yeah, like it'll be, I don't know who has a better division record. Then it'll go to conference record. Because 7.5, if that's the case, you think, yeah, I definitely want to play Carolina before I go to face the Eagles.
Well, the Carolina game is a tricky game here too, because, obviously the winner's in the playoff and the loser's out. But you got two teams that are not playing good football right now. And you can maybe say you think Carolina is, but just like an X-ray, go inside and look at their stats. They're getting drilled in the stats, as is Tampa Bay, or has Tampa Bay been all football season long. All I know for sure is, Sean, is whoever wins this game is going to be a 1-and-out in the playoffs this year. And even if it's Baker Mayfield, and he's been there and done that before, this is not a vintage Tampa Bay football team this year. And this is a Carolina team that's catching teams by surprise. But my caution here is they're catching teams by surprise and winning games they shouldn't be winning. I think this ends up being one of the most intriguing games on the football card this weekend, and one of the toughest handicaps on the card as well.
I took Carolina because, again, Tampa Bay, we're still rolling out Tampa as a favorite. Like, hey, these guys are good. Look at this. Look at Tampa Bay here, Mark, and tell me, why are they favored, and why do you just not take Carolina? 8 straight ATS losses, 4 straight losses overall, 1-7 straight up their last 8. Last 4 losses, all as favorites. 2-8 overall last 10. And yet now they're favored. Why? How are you? It's Carolina again. I'm not a huge Carolina fan. Nice step forward for them, but yeah, neither of these teams I think will impress me in the first round of the playoffs when you got an NFC West team coming into town. Again, if it's in Carolina, Carolina already beat the Rams. We can't throw that out. They dropped the 30 pack on them.
Well, when's the last time you saw a team, Sean, lose 4 games in a row straight up as a favorite and continue to maintain the role of a favorite? That's Tampa Bay coming in here.
Ridiculous.
Yes.
Why?
Even though all 4 of those losses were 1-score games, which means that they could have reversed those, they have nobody to blame but other than themselves. And like Carolina, they were getting drilled in the stats all season long. They have won the yards in 3 of their last 4 football games, which to me becomes a little bit of a buy sign for Tampa Bay. But I don't want to have to ask a football team who's playing bad football to have to lay points and all of a sudden expect them to play a good game. And you've also got, in this particular contest here, Carolina's had a real turnaround season here. The reason Tampa Bay is the favorite here, Sean, is plain and simple. They're at home in this football contest. If the game were at Carolina, I think the Panthers would be real small in this football game here as well, as far as the point spread goes. So, again, I'm going to just reiterate, I think it's the toughest call on the board.
Yeah, listen, we got 2 good games on Saturday afternoon between them and the Seattle game. And Danny, with this one here, team total over 23. I don't know. I mean, the Niner defense, I guess, is a little suspect, but, Darnold has had problems versus the Niners, the Rams, the Lions, better teams. So I'd rather go with a game over than a team over in that one. Tim Rose in the house, not a fan of the Week 18. Mar wants to know thoughts on Philly. Why is the number so short? Shouldn't it be 7 or 8? No, it's right where it should be when you have a backup quarterback coming into play here.
Yeah, and they're going to rest a lot of regulars there. Philadelphia is.
Tanner McGee's starting.
Yes, he is.
Tank Bigsby is your starting running back. Barkley and Hurts are not playing in this game.
They sound like
that's why it went from 8 down to where it is. It's Your starting quarterback and running back are out. And then we'll throw on the fact here with the Eagles, Mark. When did they look good all year? Where is their signature game?
They haven't. They've only won the yards back-to-back games one time this year. Out-yarded almost every week with regularity. You're asking Washington to step up here, but it's still a division game. And nothing would satisfy Washington better than to close out a really, really bummer season than to have to be able to beat Philadelphia.
Yeah.
A team like this who they just lost.
They were chippy 2 weeks ago. They were fighting and Washington was down like 20 points and they were still like angry at home. They still you thought maybe Washington would just mail it in after the quarterback got hurt again, like whatever. No, man, they're still chippy out there a little bit. And Mariota's not some rookie either. Mariota's got some time in the league. He's looking to latch on somewhere. He's not coming out here to wet the bed if he's starting here. He's going to look out for he's got 2 veteran receivers in McLaurin and Samuel. He's going to get him the ball. He's like he's not Tanner McGee or some backup guy coming in here.
When they out-yarded Philadelphia when they played 2 weeks ago too, so they know they're not going to be pushed around on the football playing field here. I think there's a lot more as far as a medal reward goes in this game for Washington than there is Philadelphia in this contest.
Tim, not a fan of the nil. I agree. Terrible. This is interesting. Player transfers from a small school to a big school should pay the small school a fee. I'm all for that. If you're MAC teams and Sun Belts and American Conference, if you're developing guys and stuff like that, you know what? Let's go. Ante up. It's all money anyway now. There should be some kind of whatever if you're coming in here poaching players. But you know what? That's just lawsuits waiting to happen, I think, here. Let's be honest. That'll be all types of nonsense. Tim's on the smooth today. Why not? The ACC looks fabulous. ACC looks great.
Are you talking about in the ball game? The ACC? You're saying the ACC looks great?
Yeah, ACC's look pretty good in their bowls. I mean,
yeah,
Virginia took care of business. Miami's taking care of business.
Yeah, they've done a pretty nice job.
Not too bad. Bills' final game. That's right. Final game in the stadium. Little extra for the fans. Brock Purdy, best quarterback NFL. I'm all over the Niners. All right, let's. This is where we get a little. Somebody's still a little hungover here from the night before here. Best quarterback
from Brock Purdy right now. He's really playing probably arguably his best football of his career here right now.
He's looking great. This is the Purdy that came in and took care of business, and they got rid of Trey Lance. Trey Lance is the future. Well, apparently not.
Playing with a lot of confidence he is right now.
370 division ticket on the Panthers. Excellent. And hello again to Tim. Scott, like the Eagles, I think Tanner McKee is serviceable backup. Has he gotten a lot of action, Tanner McKee?
Who's that? He
said Tanner McKee's a serviceable backup.
Is he? I don't think we've seen a lot of them to be able to, now everybody in Philadelphia thinks the guy is the real deal. I think he's a star waiting to be born. And I know they're dying waiting for a quarterback to be born in Philadelphia because there's nobody in that town, even though they won the Super Bowl last year with Jalen Hurts, that really digs Jalen Hurts. So maybe McGee is the guy that the fans are going to rally behind and get behind and everything and so forth and whatnot like that. But I don't think you're going to be able to judge it in one game against Washington. I don't think so.
So 2024, 2 games, 30 of 45, 323 yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks, took 2 sacks. Not too bad.
No, not bad.
This year he's been in 3 games. He's gone 3 for 3 for 33 yards, 5 rushes for 0.8 yards. It'll be interesting. Sign me up for the for the Redskins in that one a little bit. Is there any way you see either Tennessee, Indianapolis, or Miami covering their big spreads? You got some big dogs here for sure.
Yeah, that's a good question because does it come down to either teams play down to their level, or these are bad teams that are going home that want to go home with something to say that they played for? Indianapolis, the biggest disappointment. Tennessee, you could say, is they've only out-yarded one team, for crying out loud, all year long, as Tennessee.
Who thought? Here's the thing, though. Did people think Tennessee was going to come in here and win the South?
No.
And on Indianapolis, they started great, but you got hurt. So is that a disappointment? You lose a quarterback? That's just football.
That's a good point.
And then there's the Miami versus New England. This might be the cover spot here. The
cover spot.
They look up. New England looks up at the board, and Denver's already hopped over a depleted Charger team, and it's 14-0 in the first quarter with 8 minutes to go. They might be like, you know what? We're not getting home field. Let's just, let's get May out of there. We got our bye. He'll play a half, and that's it. We're Miami. Quinn Ewers, he's trying to make a case for himself. I think Miami's the spot here. Tennessee's been bad all year. The Colts are heartbroken. I mean, you knew the season was going downhill when you lost a quarterback. They were in trouble.
Does the weather condition bother you any at all, Sean?
No. Again, because because I think Denver's going to get up early in that game, and New England's going to be like, "What are we doing out here?" Yeah, it's crazy. All I need is my guy to slip and break his ankle or some nonsense. What are we doing here?
Yep.
Miami will just run the ball. Out of the three, I don't want to go against. I'm going against the best defense in the Texans, who've just been ridiculous, right? I don't want to go with that team with Riley Leonard. Tennessee's been the worst team the entire year. My druthers, it'd be Miami. Am I interested in any of these things? Definitely no, but we're about to go to the half here. 10-0 Texas State here. Texas State won't even cover their first half spread here. I think it was 10.5.
Didn't they hopped out real big, didn't they? The first score of the game was the first drive.
No, they didn't score the first drive. They didn't score until 5 minutes to go in the half.
Oh, really?
7-0. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, no. These guys. Yeah, no. It was. It took them into the second quarter. 10 minutes to go before they scored. Actually, 9 minutes. Pitt did a really good bowl game. Yeah, ECU. Tim is an ECU fan. Marc, Ravens money line, don't like the half point on the 3.5. I would much rather be loving Baltimore if Tyler Huntley was quarterback in here,
as opposed to if Lamar Jackson.
He's not looked good all year. If Harbaugh decides to run the ball like he did last week, you're winning this game. Like, Lamar's got a contusion on his back, right? His back hurts. Anybody over 30, you go outside when it's cold, you feel it in your knee, your shoulder, your arm, wherever you're sore. How the hell you roll this guy? It's 15 degrees. He hasn't looked good since week 1. He hasn't been healthy. Huntley your game plan just destroyed a team last week. You can do that this week. Are you scared of Aaron Rodgers? They're missing 2 good offensive players in Metcalf and who's the other tight end they're out of. This is a I don't want to screw up game, so you should be running the ball.
I think that you'll find Harbaugh doing just that, controlling the run and leaning on his defense in this football game.
55-yard pass for Rice here to the 4-yard line with 30 seconds to go.
Oh, wow. Wow. Couldn't have been one of the better bowl games, As far as the Ravens and the Steelers are concerned, the thing that jumps off the page is the history of the closeness of the scores within the series. 98 games they played since 1991. 48 of them have been decided by 1 score or less. 28 of those have been decided by a field goal or less. So if we're going to get a close call type football game here, you want to take the 3.5 or lay the 3.5?
I'm laying it. Here's the thing though. I like 3.5s and 7.5s when they open at that number. Like, I don't want to be I got to take that extra half point. So this was a 3 because it was a Huntley sighting. Lamar was Creswell. So when it moves to a 3.5, I'm a little less inclined because it's based on news or, people, oh, we got some news. The line's moving. You know what I'm saying, Mark? Like, I like
more like injury news, right? Exactly.
Yes. It's like, oh, this is going to happen. We're going to move the line up. Like it was a flat 3 the whole time. Lamar's going to play. It moves a half a point. The fact that he's only worth a half a point tells you what the books think of him right now.
Are you going to see Pittsburgh bow out with 2 consecutive home losses in a row where Tomlin very seldom ever loses back-to-back home games? Are you going to see Aaron Rodgers bow out as a home dog in what might be his last game in the National Football League? There's a lot of storylines that are going inside this game here. And what caps it all off is going to be Sunday night. It'll be the last game we'll see in the regular season this year. I'm wondering if Pittsburgh is a little tad embarrassed by their play of late here. I know at the beginning of the season, they were winning games they should not have. They were getting out-yarded regularly. They went 3-1 to start the season. They got out-yarded all 4 football games. They come back and played a little bit better here statistically on the field. They've won 3 of the last 4 games coming into this contest. They lost to Cleveland last week. That was pathetic. There was no reason for that no-show in that particular game here.
You knew that was coming, though.
Yep, you sure did. I'm gonna be the other side of the field in this game with you, Sean. I'm gonna lean to Pittsburgh here. With all these Mike Tomlin-like numbers here, the fact that they're the home dog here. And I'm looking here to see. They were a home dog to Indianapolis this year, took 3 and won the whole game. That's the only time they've been a home dog this year. So, Green Bay, they took 2.5 and they got beat by 10. So I correct myself.
All right, we're at odds on that one here. Scott says that New England Suns to win to stay the 2 seed. They've been playing starters all game. Dude, they could still win but not cover the game. That's my point on this, Scott.
That's my point exactly too. When you're talking spreads, especially the last week of the season, people are looking at, this team needs a win. They need a win. Do they need to win by 13? Do they need to win by 9? And people forget that. They just look at the fact that there's need involved in the football game, and they just want to back that team. Well, wins don't automatically guarantee point spread covers, especially when you're talking larger point spreads in the games themselves. So I'd be very, very careful when I'm approaching games this weekend and looking at the need factor for these teams here, because the need factor can end up biting you in the end.
The crazy thing is that everything holds steady here, right? Everybody, Broncos win, Patriots win, Jaguars win. Steelers don't make a difference because that's not changing. But the Bills win. If the Bills win, that'll definitely move them up because the Chargers look like they're mailing it in. So 12 wins for the Bills will move them, because right now they're going to face the Patriots next week.
Well, if they move up, right now they would face the Patriots right now if nothing changed, right? But
let's be honest, the Chargers are mailing it in. The Chargers are going to drop to the 7th seed.
So then the Chargers will get the Patriots, and the Bills would get Jacksonville. I think the Bills would much rather play Jacksonville,
or they might get Baltimore, depending on what the Texans do. I don't know. Again, the head-to-heads, because the Bills will definitely be locked in Jaguars because the Texans beat the Bills. So both of those guys 12-5. Houston will face Baltimore or the Steelers, and the Bills will take on the Jaguars. That'd be a good game. Bills Jaguars. What do you think about that matchup for?
Well, in my newsletter, we called out our awesome angle of the week, which has done real well this year, and it does come to the support of the Jacksonville Jaguars in this game. Just briefly, you're talking about any 750 or greater home team in its last home game of the season that's on a 3-0 straight up and point spread run if they're taking on an opponent that does not have a winning record. Well, since 1980, it's only happened 12 times, but it's gone 11-1 against the spread. That points to the Jacksonville Jaguars in this particular football game. Playing well last home game, high enough win percentage to be considered a good football team and playing a team that's beatable. That's basically what the angle says. So, I'm not going to fight the angle. I'm not going to step in front of a 92% winning angle dating back to 1980. So put me down for the Jaguars.
Jaguars over. There you go. Jaguars play there for Mark. Again, if you stuck around, if you haven't already hit the like button, comments have been rolling. Thank you for that. Again, Football Friday and the first Friday, 26% off. Gamblers World. Any Mark's plays, my plays, any cappers, Gamblers World, go get 26% off site-wide. Speaking of site-wide, the sites are flashing here line-wise. J.J. McCarthy upgraded to play. We jump into a 9.5 now offshore here.
So because he's playing, it jumps up now. Does that make any sense to you?
He's available to play. Doesn't even mean he's playing yet.
Okay. Because they've done a lot of damage without him, Sean. And when he did play, they really kind of went backwards. So I don't know if that's really a positive note for Minnesota in that particular football game.
Well, is he better than Brosmer? I mean, he did listen. He scored against Washington. He had a decent game against the Cowboys. He was, he was there in the Giants game. I don't know. Again, laying 10. You know who's quarterbacking for Green Bay, right? I mean, this is a we got a third stringer here as well. Clayton Tune making the start for Green Bay already. He's out there. He's been named the starter this weekend.
It's just too sad for Minnesota that the season ends when it does because, they're coming in this game 4-0 straight up into the spread the last 4 games. 4 of the last 5 games they played, they've held the opponent to season low yardage. It's where they're winning games right now. It's defensively for Minnesota here. So, can they hold this defense in place and then ask for whether it's Brosmer or McCarthy to do the job offensively? And then you put the whipped cream on the cake and say that Green Bay is not playing anybody. I think there's only one look in this game, Sean, that has to be to Minnesota.
Yeah. I have a problem giving out a 9-point spread here on the show. I can't do that. I can't give that.
To a team that's going to be watching the other team in the playoffs.
Yeah. That's a little player prop question here from Scott. 18.5 carries for Henry. Auto play. I would say yes. And I hate using that kind of term, kind of crap like that. You got to do it. Well, but you got a banged up quarterback. Last week, the dude was just a monster. Why wouldn't you hand the ball off to this guy 20-something times and just wear out the other team? I'm going to say yes to this, but the Harbaugh one caveat to this, though, Scott, and right, Mark, the problem is that this guy could have 16 carries because he has 4 carries that are for 40 or something more yards, and he's taking up huge chunks of ground yardage. And it hurts his carries because he's going to have a 200-yard game with under, 20 carries or something. That's the scary part about Derrick Henry because you saw last week the dude is still a monster.
Well, last week
they have to run the ball. You can't be coming here throwing the ball with Lamar.
No. So it would be Henry then, but Henry last week had more carries last week in that game than he's had all season long. Yeah. So, does he have it again in him? Do the tires still have enough tread this week to continue that kind of mileage, if you will, per se, in a football game like this? That's a real tough, tricky question for John Harbaugh to have to answer here. He's not like a spring chicken here, Derrick Henry. He's had a few games and some miles on those legs. So you know what the game plan should be, but can he effectuate it, knowing that he's coming off of a game where he just ran a ton of times for a ton of yards last week?
Mark, I thought in the beginning we talked about Indiana, Oregon, and Mark likes the Ducks a little bit here. That's right. You like Oregon in this spot.
Well, honestly, I haven't done all of my work yet on the game, Sean, so I don't want to put myself to commit to that. I was talking initially about what it is we saw, but it's very, very difficult to beat a team twice from the same conference in the same year. We saw that with Ole Miss and Georgia yesterday. So can Indiana do that and do this at a price that they're paying a premium with? Like I mentioned, they were 5-point dogs the first time. Now they're laying points. So there's a lot of hurdles that Indiana's going to have to overcome in this game. And for all intents and purposes, they threw a no-hitter in their game last week. Are they going to be Johnny Vandermeer and come with back-to-back no-hitters in a game this week against Oregon? I think it's going to be a must-watch game, no doubt about it. But I got to really tear it down in the database to find out exactly where I'm going to settle.
I mean, Oregon wasn't exactly chopped-liver themselves in their matchup either. No, they kind of showed out pretty well too, no-hitter style.
Yep.
This is up to 4.5. This was 4, so it's already moved to the Hoosiers a little bit here in early movement. And I think I saw what bowl revenge games are 8-0 now. The revenging team is perfect.
Yeah, revenge has worked as a tool really nice. The only game where it didn't. You talking playoff games or bowl revenge?
I think it's bowls.
Well, the one that didn't work was Tulane to Ole Miss.
That's right.
Yeah, they got slaughtered in the rematch. But if you're talking apples to apples, you're talking group of 4 teams to group of 5 teams against them. It's one thing. Power 4 teams to power 4 teams is another. And you got revenge here with the power 4 team, and I think that's where it's held up real well, is with the good quality power 4 teams.
Yeah. Makes sense. I mean, like I said, they were a dog the first time they played. This is a 10-point line swing on a neutral.
Yep.
What would this be in Indiana? This line's a 9, 10. I mean, more, right? If it was 4.5 neutral, they'd be 10-point favorites in Indiana.
Mathematically, they should be, but they wouldn't just because of the look and the feel of the game. You can't lay 10 points to Oregon. I don't care what team it is that's playing right now could lay 10 points to Oregon. But by the numbers, like you're saying, it would be or should be. But like say, the key is here, it's a neutral field, and this number has grown that way. So there's some sizable support for Indiana in this football game, no question.
Real fast, we'll get out of here. Get back to these bowl playoffs. They move these teams around. Not great showings in these stadiums, half empty. Do you put every game in a home field, in a home stadium? That maybe, again, these are in December when kids are on break too as well. I mean, but you can't have Indiana. Yeah, let's go. We're playing Alabama in California, right? I mean, Miami's in Arizona after they played somewhere else last week. Who the heck's got a mountain of cash on Christmas and New Year's? Like, what are you paying for hotels on Christmas and New Year's Day? They're insane. You're asking people to travel the 2 busiest times, the most expensive times you ever places to jack up these prices anyway because it's the holidays. How the hell are fans traveling to 3 freaking games back to back to back?
Yeah, let alone being able to get airfare. I mean, the price of the airfare is bad, let alone being able to get a ticket on an airplane too. So you bring up a valid point about should some of these teams be at home where there will be a filled stadium. There'll be fanatics in the stands, but do you do that and give up the sanctity of making the road team go into a real uncomfortable environment? That's the question.
Well, it's like baseball play. If you would have won the game during regular season, you wouldn't be in that spot. You'd have home field advantage, and you'd have 4 games at home instead of 3 or 3 and 2 or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, that's a real good retort. I like that, Sean. Yes.
Or honestly, let's be honest. These teams, Ohio, there's no other stadium in Ohio State to play at besides the Horseshoe. Like I got high school Texas stadiums that hold 20,000 people that could host a Texas football game. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yep.
They're not. It's obvious they don't care about the fans, and they don't make money off of that kind of crap. Their money's off the sponsor and on TV. What are they getting at the gate? They don't care what the gate is. Otherwise, they wouldn't care that nobody goes to these games.
Right.
The TV's paying them $10 million for a game or whatever more. I don't know. I don't know when they'll figure it out. Look at this guy, Brian Biller, coming in making jokes. My favorite capper, Sean and Marc. You're our third favorite capper, Brian. All right. We really didn't give out a bunch of plays. We have nothing really to, colleges, there's 2 games left here. We talked about both of them. Random bowl games today and NFL tricky weekend. Do you want to give a play or two? You got anything you want to get behind for the show here? If you don't, listen, it's a crazy weekend. I know it's tough just picking games for ourselves to bet on as opposed to just kind of taking flyers on shots here for free picks.
Well, for a free pick, let's step out and let's offer up a free pick, okay? I like New Orleans against Atlanta this week.
Really?
Yes. I know they're both playing good football. New Orleans is playing really good football, okay? You take a look at their body of work coming into this particular game. It's as good almost as any teams in the National Football League. I don't think they're getting any respect or love, none whatsoever, in the contest here. What are they on a 4-0 Suets run coming in here? They've covered the spread 5 straight games. They've won the yards in 2 of their last 3 football games, playing some really good football. And they've got revenge from a home loss in the contest as well here. And Atlanta's so choppy up and down, you don't know what you're getting from the Falcons each and every week here. Give me New Orleans with revenge in the last game of the season for my show pick on the show here today.
New Orleans plus 3.5.
Yes.
I'm going to give you 2 more dogs here. Miami plus the 11.5. I feel like we'll get a first half performance here from New England. I'm going to take Washington as well, plus a 4.5. And I have to do a KC Vegas under. I mean, they couldn't score points with Mahomes. Why are they going to score points now? That season is done. Everything is done. I also think Reed retires.
Who retires?
Andy Reid. Andy Reid retires this season.
Really?
That's a
bigger call than the game itself, Andy Reid. Yeah.
I think he retired. This guy's going to come back. Obviously, Kelsey's retiring. You're not going to have Mahomes for the first quarter or more of the season. What are you doing, Andy? You're going to sit through another 5-win year to maybe have a good year the next year when you have all these other quarterbacks and teams rising in your conference? No. Hang it up. You're 72 or whatever you are. You got the Super Bowls. I think it's you go out on a high note. Be like, you know what? When are you coming back for? Because think about it, Marc. It's not like you're coming back next year and having a winning season with no Mahomes.
Well, it's difficult, but I'll say this. I'll throw a little insight into this, into your proclamation there, that I think Andy Reid will do what Mrs. Andy Reid wants him to do. And the reason I say that is I have some really, really good contacts in Philadelphia where Andy Reid was coaching. And it was told to me more times often than not that Andy does what Mrs. Andy wants him to do. She runs the whole show, kit and caboodle. So if he's ready to retire, he'll look into it. If she wants him gone, he's gone. So just keep that thought in mind, okay? Find out what Mrs. Reid wants, and you'll find out what Andy Reid's going to do.
They're going into a new stadium in a couple of years.
Yeah.
It's over. There you go. Show picks. Saints plus 3.5. Under KC Vegas 36.5. Washington plus 4.5. Miami plus 11.5. There you go. NFL Week 18. Head on over to gamblesworld.net for our best bets here for NFL, for our college football playoff picks, and anything we have up on the sites here for Friday between Marc, myself, and all the other cappers here. Brian Biller just popped in. He was number 1 in the money last year on the site. Brian, a good run, crushing it. Again, 26% off for 2026. See that? You figured that one out, folks? A little easy wordplay there. 26% off. It is 2026, only on Football Fridays. There you go. Marc, Happy New Year to you. A couple more of these left, and that'll be a wrap. Then you'll jump into the magazines, getting ready for the new year.
Yeah, we're going to get it ready now. I'll say one thing. I know the boss is only glad that it's not 2090 because it would be 90% off. But it's 2026, so.
$20.99.
Yes,
Yeesh. It'll just be free. It'll be free every day. Friday, we'll just come in here and give you all the picks.
exactly.
All right, have a good one. Thanks, everybody, for popping in. We will see you next week. Bye-bye.